Hello and welcome to the Let's Talk Near Death podcast, where we talk about life, death and experiences in between. I'm Kirsty Salisbury, the host of the show, and I trust that the conversations within this podcast will offer value, insight and information into what happens in the afterlife. To find out more about the free online community and extra content, be sure to click subscribe and to check out the links in the notes below. And now, let's get into today's episode.
All of a sudden, I was just out of my body. I was very uncomfortable because I can feel like my organs shutting down. In a nanosecond, I was out. Immediately, I was in the love, the expanded consciousness, totally freed from the body and the heaviness of the body. I knew it wasn't my time at that moment, that they were healing me so that I could go back and do what I had to do.
Welcome back to the Let's Talk Near Death podcast. I'm Kirsty Salisbury, host of your show. Happy to be here with you today. Today, I'm talking with Lisamarie Boncek, who had a near-death experience in 2018 in relation to her health journey with Lyme disease. She experienced a miraculous healing, and today Lisamarie is doing amazing work in the health space. She's helping others to heal through the spiritual insights that she gained through her NDE. And Lisa, it is fabulous to have you here. Welcome to the Let's Talk Near Death podcast.
Thank you so much, Kirsty. And it's a pleasure to meet you.
It's great. Now, Lyme disease, I've heard that this is a bit of a hard one. I haven't experienced it myself. I have heard, we actually had somebody else on the podcast who had Lyme disease and they'd had a near-death experience as well. So I understand the seriousness of this condition. Tell us, how did you get Lyme disease and what happened?
I got Lyme disease from mowing somebody's lawn. I was on a tractor and mowing someone's lawn that lived around woods. As you know, you can't get Lyme disease unless you're bit by a deer tick, which they're very small. So that's how it happened. It crawled up me under my right rib.
Oh, that's a bit rough when you're trying to do something nice for someone.
Yeah, I know, really.
I know, that's the return I get. That's the thing.
Yeah, really. I mean, at first I didn't know what it was. And, if you don't catch that within the first 48 hours, it's past the bloodstream and into your system. So I waited a while because I just thought it was a bug bite. But then it really started getting painful. And it was this huge rash that was going all the way around my waist, all the way to the other side. So then I was diagnosed. It doesn't come up right away on a test. It takes a while. Yeah. But they diagnosed me by the bullseye rash, 3 different doctors. And then the test was done a while later, and then it came up on the testing. But it was pretty quick, when I became disabled with it.
Wow, disabled. Like within what sort of time period?
It was pretty quick. I mean, it first feels like you have an infection in your body, which is what it is. And I was completely bedridden. Before you knew it, I was completely bedridden.
Wow. That's so hard because I don't know what it's like over there. We aren't quite like Australia, but we get spider bites. So we have little spiders around here. Nothing that can actually harm you too much. But often people will get little bites and they swell up. So if you get one on your hand like this, it'll swell up. You'll get quite a decent looking bite on there. But you're not going to rush off to the doctor straight away. So that's quite hard because this thing is attacking your body, you said, within about 48 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
So you run off to the doctor for every little thing. Like, that's quite tricky to navigate, isn't it? Knowing how serious this might be. Is that a common thing that happens there?
Yeah. It actually originated just about a half hour from where I live in Old Lyme, Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
Lyme disease.
Yeah.
So it's popular here. But you know what? I would have never thought that I was bit by a tick because they're so tiny and, I would have never have known. And so I didn't rush to do anything about it, thinking it was a spider bite. That's exactly what I thought it was.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So what happened then? You said you were bedridden. How did this lead into your experience?
Well, the experience didn't happen then. It happened years later. It just happened 3 years ago. Okay. What happened was it was from the damage from the Lyme disease. The Lyme disease created a severe adrenal gland issue in my body because of the infection for so long. I finally was treated for the Lyme with a homeopathic seed remedy from a chiropractor in Massachusetts. And I started getting better and better and better. But I was left with this really severe adrenal disease, and my cortisol just would not stay steady. It wouldn't stay up, for survival. So I've been struggling for a while. So without that cortisol, you can't function. So that's where it all really came about, was the after effects and the fatigue that I still had from the Lyme disease. So I was sitting in this chair that I'm sitting in right now, my favorite leather chair. Mm-hmm. And I was working with an Ayurvedic doctor at the time, and I started getting these weird symptoms of my body feeling very lighter and lighter and lighter. And I heard this whooshing sound in my head and in my body. And it just kept increasing as the night went on. And I was like, wow, let me call the doctor and ask him what he thinks. Because I thought it was blood pressure, even though I've had a history with the adrenal disease of low blood pressure. It felt like it was high blood pressure. So I called him or messaged him, and he said, can you get your blood pressure checked? So I said, yeah, I could go to the CVS across the street and get it done. And everything was fine. And I came home, and I was still getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And then I finally went to bed, and all of a sudden I was just out of my body. I was very uncomfortable because I can feel like my organs shutting down. In a nanosecond, I was out. Not looking at myself from the corner of the room, none of that, but I was there, and I knew I was out of my body because of the peace, the love, and the bliss that you feel that's not of this earth. It's not a part of our physical bodies. And I'm a happy person, but this was way beyond anything that we experience here. So that was my first clue that my soul was out of my body. So at that moment, I had spirits started to physically touch me. I didn't see Jesus, but I knew he was there. It was just a knowing. I knew Mother Mary was there, her presence. And then physically, I was having this male energy because I was already a healer. I was already did this healing work before this NDE happened. So I already felt energy. And this man, or this male energy, was huge. And he came into the bed and was like, I was on my side, and he came kind of like in a hugging type of position. And I just knew it was a male energy, that he was huge, much bigger than the bed, and he had wings. I was never a person that really believed in, that angels had wings and things like that, but this is what I felt. And then somebody else, I had my hands back like this, and somebody touched the inner, that sensitive part of your palm. So I said to them, knock it off. Knock it off. Because I have spirit communication already, I had it already. I'm used to being touched by spirits once in a while. I am all open to that. I'm open to it all, and I love it. But I was going through such a situation with my body at that moment. And now this healing is going on. And I'm like, okay, there's a lot going on here. And when the person that was in the bed, it felt like he was going through my body. So it was a little concerning to me. So that's and then when they touched my hand, I just said, knock it off. And right when I said that, they were gone in an instant. The feeling of the person in the bed was gone. They stopped touching my hand just like that. Wow. So at the same time, I knew that a miracle was happening because they were in my core. They were working on my organs from the ribs down to my lower, to where the waist starts. There was all this energy that I can't even really describe, but I knew they were performing a miracle on me. At the same time, all I heard, not outwardly, in my brain, they were downloading it. they kept saying over and over, "This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." All night.
Wow. Wow.
All night. So I was thinking, because I was in my same mind. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm being healed. I have strong faith. I'm a Jesus person. I'm very religious and I'm very spiritual. I've been meditating for many, many years in advanced meditation, TM. So I just couldn't believe that they were performing this miracle on me. I just couldn't believe it. At the same time, they kept me up. So I was trying to sleep, but it was just impossible. It just wasn't happening. Yeah. So I couldn't stop laughing. The whole time I was chuckling through the whole thing because I had this bliss that was beyond anything you could ever imagine and, out of this world. And I was also speaking in another language. It was almost like, I don't know what the language was. It was almost like I was praying with them. So I don't know if my higher self, my soul is of a higher vibration on the other side. And I was joining in with them. I don't know what that was all about, but I was uttering another language. And I was like, wow, I can't believe this is happening right now.
I want to jump in and ask you a question, Lisamarie. Sure. You talked about how you were feeling lighter and lighter and lighter, and then you went to bed and then you popped up out of your body. You talked about this masculine energy coming in beside the bed, bigger than the bed, but beside you, and how you had your hand up and was it the same energy that was stroking your hand, or was it a different energy?
It felt like a different energy. Two different people.
Multiple beings or multiple energies there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There was a group.
A group. Oh, there was okay. Definitely so more than just those two?
I definitely felt Jesus. I definitely felt Mary, Mother Mary. And then the one with my hand was different. And then the one in the bed laying with me, I felt like he was also trying to heal me. And that's why he was coming through my body. And there might have been some other energies there that weren't as significant as the ones I just mentioned. Right. And I'll tell you why later on when I found out everything, who those people were.
Yeah. Okay.
So immediately I was in the love, expanded consciousness, totally freed from the body and the heaviness of the body, one with the universe, however you want to describe it. I was in another realm, a totally different realm where it felt like home. I remember thinking to myself when it was going on, oh my God, there's just no negative emotions whatsoever. Only joy. You know that, right? You remember that. I could feel your energy right now. So the only thing is that joy, and everything happened so fast, Kirsty, like within the first few minutes. And I knew I was in my spirit form and I was out of my body. I knew a miracle was happening. They were performing a miracle on me. I knew it wasn't my time at that moment, that they were healing me so that I could go back and do what I had to do.
Yeah.
And I knew I was in.
How did you know that it wasn't your time? You just knew?
It was conveyed. It was a knowing.
Okay.
It was and you know why? You know why? Because there was so much going on at once. And one of the things that they were showing me as I was feeling the love, I remember thinking, because I was awake, they kept me up. There was no sleeping. I didn't fall asleep at the beginning of this, none of that. I just, as soon as I laid down, it was within minutes. So yeah, I'm speaking the other language. I'm feeling the love. And I remember thinking, wow, they say Christ is love. We have the same thing. We turn into love just like he is. It's that same love that Jesus is. And I turned into that. And it's just really hard to describe the vastness, the divine love, the all-knowing, one with the universe, one with everything. And that's where we're supposed to be. That's the normal. What we're experiencing here is dense and heavy, and all the worry and the thinking and the overthinking and not living in the now. Over there, there's no time and you're living in the now. And how I knew it wasn't my time was immediately they were showing, I was watching video clips of myself in the future. I knew it wasn't the far future. It was within, I would say, would be the next, maybe this happened 3 years ago. And at the time I was thinking it was sort of the near future, maybe 3 years out. And I was watching myself very clearly, talking about having seminars and talks in front of large crowds, talking about spirituality.
Yeah.
The theme was hope. That's what they showed me. The theme was hope for people to get well. So I'm watching myself very clearly in these video clips, and I'm thinking, wow, they're showing me my future and why I guess I need to be here. I noticed that I was saying a couple of words, that very intelligent words that I hadn't known yet, and I didn't recognize when I was watching the clips. So the other thing I noticed that really shocked me was some of my words were off color, but the crowd thought it was funny. So I did one of these because as I'm watching in my mind's eye the video clips of myself, I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to be skinny again. That's good. And when I heard myself doing the off-color words, which I never did before at that time, I just did one of these. What you talking about? What's that all about? Because I never swore or said any words that were off color. So they told me that in order to relate to people on earth, have this deep compassion, to be able to relate better, I needed to bring my vibration down. I had been meditating for many years. I was close to enlightenment. So there's that purity there that you have that goes on. And they said that I needed to have my vibration a little lower to be able to relate better with the audience and to people's troubles. It was very profound.
Yeah, that is really, really profound. How did that make you feel, feeling like you had to lower your vibration, your energy level? And then what did you do to do that?
I understood it completely when it was happening and they were showing it to me. I totally understood it. Illness, because before I had that Lyme disease, I had optimal health. For 25 years, I just had optimal health through Ayurveda and through meditation and cleansing the body and everything. So I wasn't able to relate, even though I was very compassionate, I wasn't able to relate to people that had chronic pain or chronic fatigue and all these other things that come with it. Really, truly relate and have that deep compassion. Now I have that to a great extent. I think that's what the lesson was, to have the illness that at first I really had to come to accept. I was a little derailed with that spiritually because my path was so strong. And then this happened that I was like, why would this happen? Like, how can I help people? If I'm not able to function, I thought that was my path, to help people. So, I think it was all about a deeper level of compassion and understanding. And that's what they showed me. And that's why they said my vibration had to be a little bit lower. When I'm doing the talks, when I'm doing healing, that's a whole different story. The vibration has to be there high. But when you're given a spiritual talk and people are sick or, they're trying to learn and they don't know anything about spirituality, you want to be at a level of understanding where they're coming from.
Definitely. It makes sense to me. It's not a concept I've heard of before with having to lower your vibration, but it totally makes sense to me. So as you're saying that, I'm thinking, that works. I understand, because you've got to come back to this realm, fit into this realm and be able to do the work that you're here to do. Means that does have to change. So I understand that. I feel like I jumped ahead a little bit, so I apologize for that. I want to go back to you're in the bed, and because you just talked about how suddenly you were having like what I would call a life review or a life preview, because it sounded like a lot of what you were seeing was going forward. So what did we miss in terms of you were in the bed, you had the being around you, your hand was being stroked, you were out of your body but in your body at the same time. How did you suddenly find yourself having the life review or preview?
It just happened.
Just in your mind?
Yes, in my mind. This was all happening all at once, if you can imagine that. It's just hard to even imagine, because they work at a different frequency and they could have all these things happening at once.
Yeah.
So what they were also doing was downloading information, like they showed me, like I saw myself with money in my hand and dropping the money and it had no value. That could have been just because I was out of my body. And when you're in your spirit form, money really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Right? It has no value. Yeah. Also, I know I felt my sexual energy wasn't there. And I remember thinking, like from the waist down, that just totally didn't exist anymore. So I remember thinking to myself when this all was going on, wow, I guess that's why they have no interest on the other side of seeing these intimate moments and personal things, or us in the bathroom or whatever, because when you're just in your soul, you don't need things for a pick-me-up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You don't need this, you don't need that, because you already have it all. You have this happiness that is,
exactly. And we don't have physical bodies there. So there's not the physical desires, physical elements. It's interesting. We don't talk about that a whole lot, but it is something that's very valid, what you're saying. Did the life review, preview, did you look back on your life, or was it only seeing things in the future?
It was not really back on the life, but within the first few minutes, when I knew I was out of my body, there was a feeling of, because you feel so amazing, as you know. And I knew in a split second that all that happened in my life was meant to be. It happened so fast, that realization, as soon as I was in that peace, love, and extreme bliss, this knowing came in that said, oh my God, I understand it all, why it all had to happen. And I can see why. I mean, I believe in different lives, many lives. And I can see why, when you are in that light in heaven or on the other side, that you make these decisions to make your next life difficult, because you're forgetting you don't feel the pain of and the suffering of that when you're out of your body. So you forget all that and you understand it all. So you're ready to do it again.
Through your experience, you believe that we do have many lifetimes, that we choose what we have in this lifetime? Do you think we choose how we incarnate the people around us?
That is my feeling. Yes, I can't speak for other people and their experiences, but I definitely believe we have several lifetimes. I believe there's different levels in heaven for, Jesus, Buddha, or whoever are at a much higher level because of their spiritual evolvement in their physical lifetimes in the physical body. And I feel that we plan it out ourselves. That's my feeling about the whole thing. Yeah. So whenever something comes up for me, I said, oh yeah, I did all this.
I chose this. This is my own fault.
Oh yeah, this is something that I did. It's my own fault. I'm not one to blame God for anything that has happened to me. I kind of said to them, gee, why didn't you warn me that I was going to get bit by the tick? They can't. I've been to many mediums. I have friends that are world-renowned mediums that are great. And there was no warning about all this because it was part of the karmic plan.
And perhaps if you had known about it, it wouldn't have had the same impact, or you may have not gone to mow the grass that day. There's so many elements to consider with that. So we can't know.
there's so much involved. And when I did have the NDE, they told me one thing very important that I will never forget. Lisamarie, it's on our time, not yours.
Oh,
that's what they said to me. And they speak in few words. It's not like they go on and on and on. It's either 2 words or just one profound short sentence.
Uh-huh.
When I was watching myself teaching the people, they told me it was about hope and healing. That's what the whole future path is about, educating the people about spirituality and hope for healing. So, and then when they said it's on our time, not yours, because I'm always rushing things. Well, can you get it going? Because I always I got the premonitions. I already have the premonitions ahead of time. So I'm like waiting for them to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just waiting.
You said that you were seeing roughly what you would guesstimate about 3 years in advance, which would take you to where you are today.
Exactly. And that experience happened on Easter weekend, ironically.
Oh, so
I don't
really
know if it was just by coincidence, but Jesus, Easter weekend, I think that was very special.
Yeah, wow.
I'll never forget. It was in April at the time that year.
Yeah. So have you seen, or has any of those things that you've seen played out and you've gone, oh, that's right, that was in my life preview. I saw that and here we are doing it. Have you had any of those moments, or is it too soon?
Yes. Some of them have happened already.
What's that like?
The other thing they showed me was the people in my life and why I was in their life. The detailed reason. I have a friend that his parents are gone and he's an only child.
Mm-hmm.
It's emotional to think about this, but they showed me why I was there and I needed to stay there. Like I can take breaks from this friend or that friend or whatever, but I could not get rid of anybody. And they showed me why I had to stay there. And they gave me messages for certain people. One of my friends that's disabled, there was a strong message for her not to give up, and detailed message for her. So they showed me about 5 different people in my life and the reasons why I was there and why I had to stay there. That was cool.
Yeah, wow.
After the episode, I mean, I went back into my body immediately, but which was very heavy. I don't know if you know that show, I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, yeah. A little while ago.
Goes into this very skinny bottle. Yeah. And that's how I can compare it. It was this vast, huge freedom, expanded consciousness and spirit being. And now you're being forced to go back into this tight,
strange thing.
Yeah. And the more I was going back integrating with my body, I don't want to make this sound scary or anything. It wasn't, but it was just so heavy and so constraining and tight. And I was thinking as I was going back in, oh my gosh, this is really a huge difference, a really huge difference. So I was back in, and then the next day, my blood pressure did skyrocket that next morning, and I had to go get checked out. I mean, it was really off the charts because of the stress of not sleeping and the work they did on me and their energy. You know, I remember during the process of the healing, I could feel this energy coming off of my hands. I could just go like this, and the energy was so powerful coming off of my body. It was incredible. So I told a couple of people immediately about what happened, because you just feel like running down the street. You're so elated and euphoric after something like this. It's like something you're not going to experience until you die. It's the best thing in the world. So I remember for 2 weeks, I think it was exactly 14 days, I was still a little out of my body a little bit. Like my consciousness was one with everything. Dogs were following me, because dogs and babies, they're like all energy, you know? So I felt like I was one with everything. I was just like vibrating at a high level. it's very hard to explain. I could feel it like in every fiber, in every cell of my being for 14 days. Now for 14 days, I'm still seeing those video clips of myself.
They're continuing.
They're
Wow.
continuing. Yeah. And I couldn't avoid them. I couldn't control them. I couldn't stop them. I'd be either cleaning the house or in the middle of something that I was totally focusing on and involved in my brain. But this other thing was here in whether it's my mind's eye. I don't know what that is, your mind's eye, that I could see so clearly. And it kept interrupting me. And I kept seeing the video clips of me doing, it reminded me of Wayne Dyer when he was giving his spiritual talks. That's what it reminded me of, that I'd be doing that same exact thing. So 14 days of that, several times a day, seeing the video clips. Not only was I seeing myself, I was seeing what was going on in people's lives around me. I saw a friend of mine washing his car in his driveway, so I drove over there.
To see if he's washing it?
Yeah. And he said, how did you know? Because it's annoying. I saw the clip and I knew it. So I go over there and he said, how did you know I was home? I said, because I just saw a vision of you washing your car in your driveway.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I really wish that would have stayed as powerful as it was the first 2 weeks. Because I really liked it. I thought it was cool, although it was interrupting my life, every time I tried
Still
to
quite
concentrate
cool.
on something else. Yeah. I thought that was really cool. I said, well, I guess this is like what a medium sees. And I've asked my friends that are mediums and they said, yes. So I was seeing, I knew somebody was going to call me. And then I was just a joke. It was just a joke. The phone would ring and I'd have friends over. Oh, that's Marianne calling. And it was her. Yeah. That was cool. So then the third week after the episode, I was going to help a friend of mine who's a medium. She was doing an event. She's disabled and in a special chair. So I was going to help her set up and, help her with everything. There was about a small group of 50 people. And I had invited 2 of my other friends to come. I got tickets for them. So glad they were there to be witnesses. So on my way there, it was a pretty long drive. Well, actually, the night before or the same day, I don't remember the sequence, the lady who was in charge at the physical place where the event was happening called me and said that my friend had to cancel. And I said, gee, I didn't even know. She didn't tell me. I guess she got sick. And then I called her up and the place said, well, we're still going to have it. We got somebody else, this woman, Celeste. I says, okay, well, I have to go because my friends are going. I invited them to come. I got the tickets for them. So I'm driving there to the event. On the way, because it took about 40 minutes to get there. On the way there, I'm getting all the information is coming to me. Spirit is telling me, this is for you. This is why the cancellation happened. I knew while I was driving that, oh my God, this cancellation happened. This woman who's going to be the medium, I don't know her. She's going to tell me something about that night of the NDE. She's going to tell me the whole story. I just knew it. So I got there and I started talking to my friends. I says, you watch, she's going to wait. I know she's going to wait till the end. She's going to come up to me at the very end. Well, that's exactly what happened. She came up to me and she said, I think she was a little tripped up herself because of the messages she was getting. And she said to me, Jesus is here to talk to you. And the whole room was like, oh, So I'm like, yep. Because I knew what was going to happen. So she said, Jesus says he healed you. I said, yep. She goes, does this make sense to you? I said, yeah, it did. It does. And she says, he said you were very sick. Now she's looking at somebody that looked healthy.
Yeah. Okay.
And I could tell she was looking at me strange. Like, she's saying that you were really sick. I said, yeah, I was really sick. And then she started talking about the whole scene, about everything I knew about that happened. And she started explaining who was there. She said the angel Gabriel was there. She said, obviously Jesus was there. She mentioned Mother Mary, and she mentioned Archangel Michael. She said Archangel Michael said that he didn't mean to freak you out. He was just trying to heal you, during the process. And I was like, oh my God, that's the guy with the wings.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
It never dawned on me, Kirsty. It just never dawned on me, those weeks after that, it could be him. I didn't even think about it. And when she said that, it was like, oh my God, he was huge and a massive, he's such a high energy and so powerful. So I started looking him up because I never really researched him. And I started looking at his pictures and I'm like, oh my God, that was him. I can't believe he was in bed with me. It just was like, I can't. I can't believe I told him to knock it off. Of all people to talk to and say that to him. I'm Archangel Michael. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. And I told him to knock it off and he left. I just can't. I couldn't believe it. And so it was him. And he does have these huge wings, something I never really thought about or thought existed, and that was a validation for me. And so anyway, I was taping I had my phone on and I had my voice recorder on, taping this, what she was telling me. In front of my friends were next to me, one on each side. They were witnessing the whole thing. And I was like, oh, I got it on tape. I got Jesus talking on tape. Do you know, when I went back to listen to it, it cut off right before she talked about Jesus.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be something to do with the energy and the vibration there, that it's too much for the physical, for the phone or...
I guess. So now I'm like, oh my God, I don't have this on tape. So I called her up and she said to me, they want you to come. They need to tell you a lot more. So I went and I made an appointment with her and she stayed with me for like at least an hour and a half. She's so kind. Now we're best friends. She told me the whole story and about everything that happened during the NDE, that it wasn't my time and the miracle was supposed to happen. Everything, the way it went, was supposed to happen just the way it did.
Yeah, everything happens the way it should. Yeah,
exactly. Every moment, this moment that we're having right now is supposed to be happening. There's no doubt in my mind. So I don't question anything. I never question spirit anymore since this whole thing happened. Everything's like, yep, I'll leave it to you. Whatever. I'm just rolling with it.
Oh, wow. I'm a little bit the opposite. I question everything. I'm still quite a skeptic, even though I'm all in with this.
And believe it or not, even though I've had so much spirit communication and I've had what seemed like an angel, I don't know what it was, show up at my house not that long ago, I still want the evidence. Maybe it was a light in the attic. Maybe it was this. I'm still, wanting the evidence always. Always. But I don't question anything anymore and I don't worry about anything. I don't care about I care about things, but not in a negative type of way at all.
Oh, definitely. That's it. Not the negative one, the consuming, where it pulls us down and we get so caught up in stuff.
Exactly.
I hear you with that. Yeah. I want to come back a little bit. You said quite early on in our conversation, you said, I'm a Jesus person.
I am.
When did that start? Is this before you got Lyme disease? Were you raised in a particular style in your family? Did you go to church as a child?
You know what? I was born Catholic. And then later on, as we got older, my mother liked the Pentecostal church and all the action and the music and dancing and everything. So we enjoyed that. And somebody had asked me, several people have asked me so far, the language I was speaking, was it speaking in tongues? So I said, no, it wasn't, because I came from a Pentecostal church and I know what speaking in tongues is all about. And it definitely wasn't that. And so I don't really relate my Jesus feeling to anything in my childhood. When I started meditating, when I was 27, I started Ayurveda and meditating at the same time. That is when everything started opening up for me spiritually in a very powerful way. So that's when I started researching Jesus. I was having a pull to him. I was getting books about his life. I wanted to know what was the diet of the biblical times? What did they eat? I was watching movies, the 10 Commandments and this and that and all these Jesus movies. And I didn't know why I was being drawn to him until I went to a medium. And she told me when I walked in that I had this gold light around me. She says, "Oh my God, Jesus is your guide." And I said, "No wonder why I've been thinking about that guy all the time." Because I didn't know why I was being pulled. And she answered that. And that's why I have the Jesus feeling. It's something that comes natural. It's not like I was raised that way, even though, of course, we believed in Jesus as a child, but it wasn't anything related to that. It was once I opened myself up to the spirit world by meditating, did my consciousness get higher and raised my consciousness, and nature was following me. And then I was listening to my higher self, the gut feeling. In layman's terms, it's your gut feeling of where you're being pulled and pushed. I found out that these were my spirit guides that were pulling and pushing me to meet this one, to talk to you right now. You know what I'm saying? And I just went with the flow of what I was being told. And I really realized that a lot of my thoughts were actually messages, things I was being told from spirit. So that's how this Jesus thing came about. And that's what he's like, a part of me. I feel like he's there when I'm doing healing on people, physical healing. I feel his energy there. So obviously he's got a part in this, what I'm doing.
Definitely. And it's not to open up a conversation around different beliefs and religions and things like that.
Nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that.
I always just wonder, is it because most of the interviews that I've done, most of the research I've done has been from Western cultures. Simply, that's just how it is for me. And I would love to expand on those boundaries. So if anybody's listening thinks, well, I know someone who might fit that bill, I'll introduce you, that would be fabulous. But from the research that I've done, it's Western research, and the Western beliefs generally are, well, Jesus comes in there a lot. There's a lot of Christian experiences because that's what we have as our belief systems. So my question comes down to, if we're raised in different cultures, do we see the cultural figure of our belief system? Would somebody who's raised in Africa potentially see somebody else, or, all these different parts of the world? And I mean, absolutely no offense as I try and discuss this.
Absolutely
pull it together. But, that's why I asked that question, not because it's Jesus, but because I wonder, is it all the same thing? Is it the identity that we will connect with?
So I have an answer for that. During the NDE, and I think I felt this before that, but that made it more stronger. I really feel that, and I want to be sensitive about my words. I can be very direct, and I want to be careful of how I say this, but I really feel that there's not a sign that says, okay, Catholics go this way, Jews go that way, Hindus go that way. I don't feel that. I feel it's all one category. We're in our highest form, and it's cosmic consciousness that's going on. That being said, I do feel that people are shown, like my mother who passed away, showed herself to me in a dream.
Yeah.
She showed me herself of what I remember, not at 18 years old, because from what I understand, you can be whatever age you want. You can be you're younger over there. You're at your best. You're 30 years old. You're 25 years old, where you're looking great.
Yeah.
So she didn't show herself to me as a younger, stunning woman. She showed me what I last remembered. So
that's what you'll relate with.
Because that's what I'm going to relate. I might not recognize her if she showed me at 20, what she looks like at 20 years old. So I've had a lot of these spiritual experiences, and this is what I'm taking from it. And what I feel is also that, yes, they may show you when you get there, like they may show me Buddha, because at the meditation I do, I'll understand him, but I don't think they're going to show him to somebody that doesn't know anything about it. I think they will show you what you're familiar with for comfort level, at first.
Yeah, that's what I've got to as well. So I think that makes sense. But I love to ask the question because, I love to take on other people's perspectives and,
Exactly. And everybody's got
what other people think.
Yeah, exactly. And from what I've heard from the people, I've had a lot of loss and a lot of people that have died close to me. So from what I've heard from them, from the other side, is they just said to me, you were right. You were right about everything. That it's more of the spirituality, even though I think it's both. I think it's very religious to whatever religion that you follow. And it's also very spiritual in a spiritual sense. So, and I had that, I call it a very religious experience, but they were also performing a miracle, which might have made it more religious, if you know what I mean. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Over and over and over. To me, that's religious. I think it's both integrated, and you're shown what makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So fast forward to today. You've been healed. Oh, well, we could go down so many rabbit holes, couldn't we? We could talk about so many things. But today, you've been healed.
Yes. Certain things
for you now.
They're great. Certain things were healed immediately, but it took time for the fatigue to lift. Right. I had very low, my cortisol would just not move up. It took about a year and a half being drawn to the right doctor. I did it through Ayurveda and this thing that was supposedly incurable. But I was being drawn to all the right things, my own knowledge that I have. So the fatigue took about, I would say, a year and a half, little increments. The cortisol came up. I have all the proof and the reports, the tests. It came up halfway, and then it came finally to normal, which for me is a miracle. It's really a miracle. Yeah. So as far as what they were showing me, what I was going to be doing in the future, as of last year, my language has become colorful.
Isn't it
so
funny?
Much that my family has mentioned it to me, like, oh, Lisamarie, you said this word, like they were like in a panic.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, now you know I'm not so perfect. You know what I mean? It's they were used to me being whatever for so many years, so. And I even noticed it in myself. I was like, wow, my language has changed a little bit. And so then I thought, hey, that must mean I'm closer to what they showed me in the video clips of what I'm now closer. So in that sense, yes, now that part has happened. Now what? Now this week, guess what I'm doing? I'm here.
Yeah.
Never, ever thought I would be bringing this public. I'm a very private person. Yeah, right. You had said that too. I mean, I'm such a private person. I mean, I never even went on Facebook for a long time because I'm just not like that. I'm private. I don't need to have everybody, all the attention on me. I'm not an attention getter at all. So this is a lesson for me too, because as much of my strong self-worth that I have and my self-confidence is strong, but I'm not good at tooting my own horn. So this helps me to get out there and become more public, more open, you have to put yourself out there. The social media, this is what's going on in this day and age. It's not the way it used to be. It's all about social media now. That's how you help people now. That's how you reach people, by social media a lot of times. So I had to learn, and I had to listen to them and follow their guidance and push myself to do this. And here we are. This is very different for me.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And it's still different for me every single time I do this. I go, oh, wow. Yeah. It's an ongoing journey, isn't it? It's not a one-time thing. Journey. It's a process. We're taking our steps. We're growing. Yeah. And I think if we can sit and be still and connect, to what you've talked about, this love, this Jesus, this power, this intuition, if we can connect to what are we being shown, what is guiding me right now, and just do our absolute best by that. I think that that's truly living. That is truly living, is just being centered and connecting with the purpose, but at the same time having a very physical experience.
Yes, I think that people don't know that the inner intelligence of our bodies is amazing. The meditation just expands, starts the whole ball rolling. The things that I do with cleansing the body and the Ayurveda, that whole thing incorporated with it, it heightens our body's abilities and our spirit, experience. Opening yourself up to know, okay, this is a sign. I need to follow this. This makes life so much better than just the mundane. But you also have to be brave. I was always a fighter. If I didn't fight that disease and pray every day, please, Lord, heal me so I could help other people. What the medium said to me when she was talking about Jesus healing me, she says, it was because of my faith. That was part of it. Yeah. Because of my strong faith, they heard me praying. They heard everything. That was part of why it all happened also. The healing and everything. That was very profound. And now I have no more fatigue. I'm living life again. And I'm learning new tools, how to work with this energy that I now have. I already had the healing energy, but now a few months ago, I was having these episodes. My TV shut off by itself. So no, it actually turned on. It was off. It turned on by itself. And I was like, I got to get a new TV. And I was thinking, this TV isn't even that old. How could it already be shot? So that happened. I didn't think anything of it. I was taking care of a friend of mine's house. She goes to Florida every winter. And I was opening up the garage door and I hear this music blasting. I'm like, somebody must be here. Who the heck could be in the house? So there's an old stereo in the basement. So I went to the far end of the basement trying to turn it off. That's what was screaming. And I'm pressing the power button and it wouldn't go off. It wouldn't go off. Finally, I said, please, can you turn this thing off? And I pushed it and it went off. That happened. Then at that same house, my friend had recently lost her husband a couple of years ago. So I thought it was him trying to communicate with me. Because over there, the TV turned on by itself. The remote was nowhere in sight. Just want to be clear about that. Then I was at Starbucks with my friends that I've made over there, and their computers were going haywire. Their cell phones were going haywire. And I think my GPS was going haywire one time. What I found out is that it's me. That something has changed, electromagnetic field, something has changed in my body, in my wiring, in my spirit, that something has changed, that this is happening. And I noticed when I'm healing people and doing my healing work, that has come much stronger than it was. Much greater results. It's just very powerful now. So I'm left with that, as I'm more sensitive than I ever was. As far as picking up into people's souls and really picking up immediately on people's, what they're feeling, what they're thinking. It is it's very heightened, which sometimes isn't so great because, you don't want to be that sensitive, So, but it's there. It's there.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
love what you've been sharing with us. I think, when you're talking about the TV going on and the radio going on, that would kind of freak me out. I think I've got the capacity to open up to quite a lot of the stuff, but it's me shutting it down. I'm going, oh, I want to have these gifts, but I don't want them at nighttime. I don't want them when I'm alone. And I put all these conditions on everything that actually it's like, nah, don't worry, we just won't give them to you. But my car plays up. The electromagnetic stuff plays up for me quite a bit too.
It still happens to you. See,
it just makes
for me
smile.
It seems to be getting worse. Yeah. I mean, I am a person that I don't believe in stress. I don't believe in fear. I think that the fear is what's blocking people to really expanding and learning and growing. A lot of people don't like change. I love change.
Yeah, me too.
I love it. I can't wait for the next adventure. But most people are not like that. They're afraid of this. They're afraid of, a spirit touches them, or if they see, like I did, that white light. My friend was right here in the hallway here, which is right outside of my treatment room where I do my work in my office. And I had the attic ladder down, and he was handing me some stuff to bring in the attic, and this white light shone between us. It was huge. I mean, it was just, the size of a room, a good size room. And he
saw that too?
He saw that too, and he's still talking about it.
Oh,
cool. He's still talking about it. He's going, oh, I can't believe he tells everybody about it. So it was this, that bright white light that you don't see here.
Yeah.
So, and it was pretty solid. I could still see him because we were right in front of each other. It was like it came between us as he was handing me stuff. And it happened very quickly. It was, again, like that nanosecond, enough for us to be aware that it was there, and like this profound thing that had just happened. But it went away just as quick. So again, I'm also skeptical. I want to see the proof. So I said to him, he was freaking out. Oh my God, did you see that? I said, of course I saw it. So I went up the ladder to make sure that the lights weren't on in the attic. Okay, so the lights were not on. I have very bright lights up there, very bright lights. I put the switch on. Those lights couldn't compare in any facet to the light that we saw. I mean, not even, and those lights are very bright up there. I've got a lot of lighting, like fluorescent type of lighting and stuff. It couldn't even compare. And then when we went up there, there was a light bulb that was, he went under the light bulb, and the light bulb was turning on and off. And I says, oh, just, let's get on a ladder and just tighten it. It's probably loose. It wasn't loose at all. I'm glad that my friends, witnessed this stuff and they're experiencing it with me, because it helps them to grow. It's all about growing spiritually. I really feel that the more you go into your higher self and listen to your guides, listen to your higher self and your gut feeling, the more you grow, the more they show you, the more you grow. And when you get on the other side, you're going to the higher levels. My mother, who passed away, even told me that because of my spiritual growth here, we were in different levels. We're not going to be in the same lifetime together the next time around because of that.
Oh, interesting. Oh,
very interesting.
I'd love to continue on that conversation. You've talked a little bit about you've been with a lot of people when they've died or you've lost a lot of people.
Yes.
I'd love to continue that conversation over in the VIP area of the podcast.
Great.
Because I'm aware that we have talked quite some time. Yes, and I have a lot of questions around that. But Lisamarie Boncek, I want to say thank you. It's quite a recent experience. Yours was only a couple of years ago. And
3 years ago.
3 years ago, you're starting to see some of the things that you saw there coming to pass.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Yeah, I'm excited.
Really exciting. I can't wait to hear what happens in the future. I'm going to be listening out and going, what's Lisamarie up to? What's happening there? I just think it's so exciting. So I want to say thank you for being vulnerable and sharing with us, and just all of the stories. Like I said earlier, we could talk for hours and hours, I'm sure of it, because it's so interesting.
It really is.
Yeah, I really value your time. So Lisamarie, thank you so much. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the Let's Talk Near Death podcast.
Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with all of the events we have going on, and to visit www.letstalkneardeath.com to join the VIP community.